Good afternoon. My name is Isaac Robertson. I'm here with Dylan Henson, and we're bringing you the very first Reaching ROCO youth, young adults, and those who guide them podcast. We've got a great group of guests coming up, and we're excited.
Now, Isaac, we've got a great lineup tonight. We've got Monica Lee from the McNair Foundation. We've got Ariana Hunter from RS Central High School. And we've also got Maria Gualberto and Madalyn Hughes from the Distinguished Young Women. So go ahead and roll that intro, Addison.
Hey, thank you both for coming on here. We're so excited for our very first podcast here. We're excited to talk to you about your experience with the Distinguished Young Women. Could you
Thank you.
could could you both introduce yourselves and tell where you're going to school at now and where you plan to go after college or after high school?
Older.
Hey, I'm Maria Gualberto. I was a distinguished young woman of Rutherford County, class of 2023. I am a senior at Chess High School, and in the fall, I'm planning to go to Chapel Hill. And major, not so sure yet.
You got a few years on that one.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Madalyn Hughes. I'm the Distinguished Young Woman of Rutherford County for the class of 2024, and I'm a junior at RS Central High School. And right now, I want to be a nurse, and I'm looking into going to UNC Wilmington. But I have some time for that one.
That's right. That's awesome. Congratulations. So Distinguished Young Woman is a national program that gives out over $1 billion in scholarships to its participants each year. Roll the clip.
Distinguished Young Women is a scholarship program for girls in their junior and senior years of high school. It's all about empowering young women to develop their full potential. Each year, we make over $1 billion in scholarships available. Plus, you'll take part in workshops and learn crucial life skills like interviewing and public speaking so you can be successful in college and your career. And I found a new group of friends made of women who inspire me to be my best self. I'm now connected with alumni across the country who are there to help me in college and beyond. And it's free to enter. Ready to show how distinguished you are? Check out our website and apply today.
So could you guys give me just tell me about what they evaluate and what they're looking for in Distinguished Young Woman?
So we were judged in five categories: interview before hand with 6 judges as the panel. Then we're also judged on our scholastic, talent, fitness, and self-expression on stage. And just overall, altogether, it's just us trying to be our best distinguished young selves and also interpret the role as a young leader for the younger girls to also participate in the program.
Got you. What was your talent?
So my talent, I sang "The Girl from Ipanema" in Portuguese and English. Since I'm from Brazil, that was a little way that I could show a little bit of my culture. So yes.
What about you, Madalyn?
I performed a poetic monologue from Amanda Gorman called "The Hill We Climb." She performed it at Joe Biden. Sorry. I did a poetic monologue from Amanda Gorman. She did it for Joe Biden's presidential inauguration. Yeah, and I had a good time with it.
Awesome. And what was that process like for the both of you?
So for me, it was a little kind of out of the blue because whenever I first entered the program, all I knew it was like I have a decent voice, voice, so I guess I can sing. And I told my mom, I was like, hey, I think I want to sing a Portuguese song. And that's when she was like, I have the perfect song for you. You're going to do the Girl from Ipanema. Frank Sinatra done a little version in English, and that's the way that you can do both of the languages. So I just followed my mom idea, and I got it.
Mom's ideas are usually the best ideas. Um, so what was a big takeaway from the Distinguished Young Woman experience, the whole
hmm
process from
So for me, it was a great honor because it was the first in-person program since COVID started. So it was just me and two more girls. So that was kind of a little bit of like, oh my gosh, what to expect. And throughout last year, I just was preparing for the state program. I had an amazing week up in Greensboro. I met 14 young ladies, and I was glad of how far I had come so far.
that's awesome. How about you, Madalyn?
Well, I kind of grew up around the program my whole entire life. So when the opportunity arose for me as I became a junior, so I kind of jumped on the opportunity, and I was very excited to see what all it was about because I had grown up around it, and I've had a great experience, and I'm really excited to represent Rutherford County at state in 2024.
That's exciting. Um, Madalyn, could you tell me a little bit about the life skills program at DYW?
So there are 5 components of DYW, and it is being responsible, ambitious,
Studious.
um, and for the
Fitness.
and then there's one more.
Ambitious, studious, fitness. Lord.
Yeah.
Studious. Did we say studious?
Yeah. There are 5 components of the program, and they do correspond with the requirements that we had to do for the program itself.
Gotcha.
And with that, yeah, we each got. I think each of the participants definitely had their own struggles with each different category of it. But with each of those categories, we were able to push our own selves out of our comfort.
Awesome. Madalyn?
And we also can take away from the.
I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I was saying that from the program, we can also take the interview skills that we gain from it because as we're preparing for the local and state level, we have mock interviews. So that's something that we will for sure take for the rest of our lives, especially for like scholarship interviews, job interviews. There's many great takeaways from being in a program.
And what do they cover in the interview? Is it like a job interview? Is it a personality interview? Like, what are they really looking for there?
Well, that's the little moment, the day of the program where the judges get to know you. So basically, the first question should be a little bit, what's your talent? Why you chose that talent? The meaning behind it, and some may ask some current events that may be going on right now. And beforehand, we also fill out a little form online, just like what's our favorite book, our favorite novel, favorite artist, favorite song, people that we look up to from the future, from the past. So it's just they have that little form whenever we're doing the interview. So it's just them wanting to know a bit about ourselves.
But it quite literally, we have 10 interview, and it could quite literally be anything that they decide to ask you on that particular day. So you have to be able and willing to think on your toes in those moments.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. Maria, if you could give one piece of advice to Madalyn and other young girls coming up who are looking forward to doing the DYW program or are involved now, what is one piece of advice that you would give them that has had a positive impact on your life?
For the girls before the show, I told them just do it, and I also told some of the little sisters just do it because you can learn so much from this program. And whenever I had my farewell, everybody was coming to me, and even my mom, and she was like, being in this program really helped you grow within yourself and you really matured. So just do it. You can be your little self. You're gonna gain friendships that will last a lifelong, by your side. Also, the interview skills. It's just a little moment to have fun and also the memories.
Gotcha. Well, thank you both so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. We're going to segue in now to our interview with Ariana Hunter, RS Middle School's award-winning teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are so excited to be celebrating Ariana Hunter today as Rutherford County Schools Beginning Teacher of the Year. We have been able to hire so many great young teachers to our county. It's so exciting, and for the one to be selected to be here is such an honor, and she is so deserving. She is just phenomenal.
I'm so sorry if I don't know if it's on my end or I just cannot hear anything.
Like, are you?
Sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties here. Dylan will be back with us here shortly, but I'm going to go ahead and take over this part of the interview.
No, it's
So
okay.
awesome, awesome. So, like I said, we're here with Ariana Hunter, award-winning teacher. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? Where you went to school, where you're from?
Yes, so I am from McDowell County. So I went to and graduated from McDowell High School, where I then went to Western Carolina University. Go Cats. Um, so I graduated from there, and I found myself now teaching at RS Central High School in Rutherford County. And it has just been so incredible. When I first applied there, I really wanted somewhere new. I didn't want to go back home. But I also didn't want to be too far from home. And it's just really special because now Rutherford County has become a home to me. And I am very happy with my choice. So
Awesome. Awesome. I'm a mountaineer myself. I have to put that out there. I go to App State, so I guess we're a little bit rivals in that way, but I guess I can get past
I will look past it for tonight.
it. So, um, could you tell us about the awards you won and how you won them?
Yes, so I got Beginning Teacher of the Year for Rutherford County Schools. I am extremely honored and humbled to receive that award. As far as how I got it, I can't help but to thank all of the people who got me to this point. So my mentor, Amanda Willis, she really helped me in my first year. My principal, Phil Rogers, he's so supportive in all that I want to do and implement in my classroom and always challenging me to be better. And then my advisor,
Dr. Frank Persino, he really led me. He modeled for me the kind of teacher that I would like to be in the classroom. As far as how I got it, I really couldn't tell you because if I'm honest, I just went to school every day and I did my job. So I was really shocked when I did receive the award. It is very, very special to me, and it's something that I'll never forget. And it's such an honor, a huge acknowledgement. So for that, I'm very grateful.
That's awesome for sure. And I love that you gave the partial credit to all these other people, and it shows that you can't. It takes a village,
Oh,
and
absolutely. Absolutely. I could not do it alone. That is for sure. So I'm very grateful for the village that I have found in Rutherford County Schools and before as well.
that's awesome. Dylan?
All right. Sorry about the technical difficulties, everyone. It was on my end, apparently. My internet was just not having it. Ariana, how are you today?
I'm good. You're fine. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. No, it's our pleasure. We're so glad to have you. So yeah, just to introduce yourself, you said that you're a science teacher at RS Central High School. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have taught 3 different ones at this point. So.
Oh, cool. How many years have you been teaching?
So this is just my second year, and I'm very fortunate to have a degree in comprehensive sciences. So I've taught earth and environmental, physical science, and biology at the high school. So, but yes, science teacher. Yeah.
I always love taking all these classes, and just from what I've read and stuff, it just seems like that you have this environment in your classroom that is unparalleled to a lot of teachers around you. What can you tell us some strategies that you use inside of the classroom?
Yes, so I am a huge advocate for building relationships and cultures of care in the classroom. Because I feel like to help a student learn, I have to understand them as a person. So really a challenge that I've placed on myself and that I do in my classroom is I meet my students where they're at instead of dwelling on where they should be. So we have a lot of like team building activities that we do. They have a lot of control in the classroom in the sense of I want them to know that that classroom is their classroom. I want them to be comfortable in there. So they really help me with like coming up with the classroom rules and expectations. They have a lot of choice in the assessment tools that I use. Like if they want to present in front of the classroom, we have some students who love that, whereas some students do not. They have a lot of options in my classroom just to explore the various ways that they feel comfortable. That's a huge strategy I feel like I use to make the students comfortable with me. And so I can really understand how to teach them best. We have a lot of fun in my classroom. It's not one of those where you're going to walk by and they're dead quiet. It's probably really loud most of the time, but I'm okay with that. That's fine by me, and that's what I like because I want them building community with each other and with me. And so that's a little glimpse of what my classroom looks like. It's a big old family in there. At least that's what I'm trying to strive for.
That is awesome. And it always gives you, I guess, hope in your heart. Well, just hope in your heart when you hear about teachers that go the extra mile and make their students feel in just an environment where they feel welcome. Is whenever you are talking about welcoming students into your classroom, what are some exercises you use?
So I am a big hello person, and what I mean by that is I make it evident that I want to talk to every single student who even just walks by my classroom. I try to find out their name, just ask them how they're doing, because I want students excited to come to school. And they're not going to be excited if they're not acknowledged. And unfortunately for some of these students, they don't get talked to. So a challenge that I've placed to myself is every single student that walks by, I'm saying hey to them, and I want to know their name, and I want them to know that they matter, because they all do. And I know they all come from different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, they're all at school to learn. They're all learners. So I'm going to let them know that they do belong with just a simple hello. And I try to, spread that to my colleagues as well. And they've done a really great job with adopting some of the principles that I use. Of course, I don't have it all together either, but I do think that that is a huge impact that makes students excited or feel welcome or belong at the school. And that's all that I can really hope for, is that they find a safe place in our school.
That is awesome. And as we're talking about it, you were a finalist, if I'm not wrong, for the NC Beginning Teacher of the Year. We read some about that. We also saw the video and the recognition that you got the county award. What did that process look like for you?
That process was incredible. So, of course, I got it for Rutherford County, which huge honor. And then we were able to send like a portfolio to the state of North Carolina to be selected as a finalist. You had to have some letters of recommendation from like your administrators. I chose a student also to write like a letter on my behalf, just to talk a little bit about like how I was a teacher. And I was selected as one of 27 finalists out of the whole state of North Carolina. And that was just the most incredible experience. There were such phenomenal people there. I made, some lifelong friendships from that. But all of us really created like this community where we share information and resources with each other. So it's really been life-changing. And the networking that I developed from that is just something that I could have never even thought of. So it was really amazing. It was intense because there were some interview processes involved. But ultimately, I'm so grateful to have even made it that far. So it was just altogether incredible.
Well, again, congratulations. That is a high honor, especially in the state of North Carolina, because I think as a society sometimes, especially in Rutherford County, we can overlook how much teachers do for us and what they do for our communities and for our students. So, and as a Rutherford County teacher, you see students struggle every day, whether that be with mental health, whether that be with school assignments, or and what is something that inspired you to become a teacher?
So the whole reason that I wanted to become a teacher was specifically because of a specific teacher in my life. Her name is Lee Morris. She was my pre-calculus teacher in high school. And she was honestly, and I don't even know if she knows this, but she was honestly the first teacher who saw me as a person, who had feelings, who worked a job on top of being a cheer. Like, she saw me as an individual instead of just a test subject with a test score. And really, I don't think that she realized the transformative power that she had on my life. She was able to recognize that I was a person who struggles and has issues beyond just schoolwork. And she talked to me about those. And because of that, I did so well in her class because I was comfortable with her to ask her for help on questions or stuff like that. So ultimately, the reason I became a teacher is because I saw how powerful and impactful that woman was on my life. And I just was like, wow, I want to be powerful one day. I want to have an impact on lives. And so I've really taken that, and I hope that I can be that for students in my life. And so that's what I try to do. I do recognize that they have these struggles, and I see that they are human and they make mistakes, but that doesn't define them. I don't think any statistic or where they come from should predict their outcome. And that's something I will stand on forever, is that I will meet these students where they're at because I want them all to succeed, and I will work my tail off to get them there. But because of a teacher, I wanted to become a teacher.
That is awesome. And I think that's what we see in a lot of scenarios with teachers. They usually have someone that they looked up to and someone that they valued. And it just shows that teachers change teachers and people change people. And it's in today's age, we see students struggling with learning while living in an age of technology. How do you work with these students who might be struggling, and how do you foster engagement with that specific, maybe people with ADHD, that kind of thing in your classroom?
So technology has become a huge part of education, and I think that it's wonderful. I think the first thing that we as teachers have to identify is that our students come from these different socioeconomic backgrounds, and they might not all have the same foundation with technology to begin with. So when students walk into my classroom, I am expecting them all to be at ground zero. I'm going to just, try to lay the foundation for them because I don't know where they're at. And I'm going to talk with them to try to figure out where they are to help them understand how to use technology better. I'm going to make sure that I implement brain breaks into my classroom because staring at, our MacBooks all day could be draining for some of my students. But again, that's a conversation that I have to have with those students to even know that it might be a struggle or a problem for them. But I love technology. I love using it in the classroom. I love trying to relate the material to the students' lives as much as possible. So as much as many people might think that technology is a distraction, I think that it's a great tool that we can use to get students engaged with the material. They can make TikToks about talking about chemical reactions that occur every single day. Or, I think the way that I engage students with technology is just trying to figure out what they like. What do they like the most? And right now it's TikTok. That's why I'm thinking of that. So I'm just trying to adapt it to my curriculum to make it relate to them. And I think because of that, there's not this problem in my classroom with technology. I feel like they enjoy utilizing and using the technology because they know that I'm going to help them through any struggles that they might have because we have the relationships that we've created. And then B, because I've tried to make it a little more relative and engaging for them to participate in.
That is awesome, and it's great to see. I mean, we live in a generation. I call it the TikTok generation now. I mean, you'll see our generation finds ourselves scrolling on Reels, TikTok, any type of social media that just has short clips because I think as a society we just have such a short attention spans. And whenever we're talking about the next generation of youth, especially, we're talking about TikTok and we're talking about youth and young adults. How do you think that this generation, this upcoming generation, is going to foster change within, our local community and, even our country for that matter?
Well, my students and the students of this county inspire me every single day because of the stories that I've heard that these students go through or the things that they've overcame. I mean, they really motivate me to come to work every day because these students are so inspirational. So I have no doubt in my mind that they are going to create change. I think that starts with, their ability to have empathy. And so that's something that I really try to harvest in my classroom is just being considerate of each other, being willing to listen to differing opinions and, respect them and just have an adult conversation. And I see that in my students. I see them, being compassionate and considerate of others' feelings and how to arrive at a solution to their conflicts. I see the future generations creating change by, working together to bring new businesses into our county or to, just come up with ideas on how to solve some problems that may arise. They really are such bright minds, and I'm inspired by them every day. And I know that teachers, me and teachers alike, will help these students get there by teaching skills like life skills in their classroom along with their subjects. So I have no doubt that they will create change. And I'm so proud of my students and all students of Rutherford County and what they will build in the future.
That is awesome. Great conversation. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. And as always, if you ever need anything from ReachingROCO or myself or others, just please don't hesitate to reach out. We are now going to transition into the McNair part. Monica Lee from the McNair Foundation is here, but we also have a special video to play before that interview. You can go and roll it, Addison.
He's done so much for not only just the sports community, but just the community in general.
The most satisfying, delightful thing is being able to help others.
A man of strong convictions, McNair believed in serving the greater good, giving generously throughout his lifetime to countless charities and causes.
As an asset in this community, I can't think of two more important people than Janice and Bob McNair.
You arranged this?
Staying in town?
Thank you so much for this.
I'd like to think that I'd be remembered as an honorable man, as a good Christian man, and that I always did things in a first-class manner and treated people honestly. And I think that would be a good legacy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this portion of the podcast. We have a very special guest, Monica Lee, the Executive Director from the Robert and Janice McNair Foundation. How are you today, Monica?
I'm doing wonderful, thank you.
It's so good to have you here, and thank you for joining us today. So just to start out today, can you give us a background on yourself, where you went to school and where you work now?
I actually grew up in Rutherford County. I went to East Rutherford High School, and then I went to UNC Chapel Hill. And then I also came back, and when I transitioned into teaching, I went to Western Carolina and got my master's.
That's awesome.
I know, sorry, you're an app state person.
I'm not going to say it. I won't even say it this time.
It's okay.
So could you tell us a little bit about who gets scholarships and why they get scholarships from the McNair Foundation?
I can. We have what's called the ROPE, Scholarship for Students, and it stands for Reaching for One's Potential for Excellence. And the beauty of this scholarship is that our students are really not competing with other students. So it's not just the top number one or number two person in the class that gets the scholarship. It's open to any student. And so they're really only competing with themselves to make sure that they reach the criteria and they're reaching for their potential for excellence. And so it's open to any student. And it's unlimited. So if every student that applies has met their potential for excellence and have done the things that they needed to do, then every student will receive the REP award. So we've had 160 some years, we've had 130 some years. This year we have 150, I think is the total for this year. So it really just depends on the students who apply and what they do for themselves.
Yes. I actually, 4 years ago, I received the ROPE Award from the McNair Foundation, which I want to say thank you so much for everything you do. The year that you guys did it, the year that I graduated, you guys actually went from $2,000 to $8,000 in financial assistance, and that has done amazing things for me at App State and just allowing me to go to school without the worry of financial hardship. So thank you so much for what you do.
You're welcome. You saw in the video, though, I really am just doing it on behalf of the McNairs, Robert and Janice McNair, and just carrying on their legacy. So it's an honor to be working on their behalf and carrying that legacy out in this county.
And what an incredible legacy it is. They've changed the lives of countless Rutherford County graduates. It's an amazing thing. And going from not only the scholarships benefit these graduates, what other support do you give to these students?
We have programs actually from kindergarten to college completion. So we cover the whole gamut of students in Rutherford County schools. But one of our main programs is our mentoring program. And that is our program where every 7th through 12th grade student in the 3 middle schools and 3 high schools of Rutherford County schools has an adult mentor. And so we have around 210 mentors, adults that volunteer as mentors in our schools. And each one of those mentors works with about 15 students. 6 of them usually come from the middle school, and then the other portion of that comes from the high school. And they work with students throughout, from the time they pick them up in 7th grade until they graduate in 12th grade. And our mentors are just there to guide our students. We make sure that, or they make sure, not us, but they make sure that every student in the school has an adult conversation with an adult who cares about them. If we find things that we think need to come to the attention of a guidance counselor, then our mentors can connect them to the guidance counselors or administration or teachers or after school help or whatever it is that they may need. But it's just a program that's set up to make sure that every student has somebody talking to them and listening to them and helping them throughout their middle school and high school years.
It's so great to hear that there is hope, and especially for the next generation. We mostly hear about how the Robert and Janice McNair Foundation was started. From my understanding, it was started from a fund that he started to basically allow students in his home county of Rutherford County to graduate without the worry of having financial hardships during college. Can you give some insights on how Bob McNair lived his life and how he managed this foundation when he was still alive?
I sure will. It actually started in 1989, and at that time, Mr. McNair was trying to figure out a way that he could help the students in his hometown. He's never forgotten his roots, whether it's in Rutherford County or even where he went to college or where his wife went to college. He makes sure that he gives back in all of those areas. But he said that when he was in school, that there were plenty of people in his school, in his high school class, that were as smart or smarter than he was, but they either did not have the means or they did not have the motivation to go to college. And so his goal with starting this foundation was to make sure that the students of Rutherford County had the means and the motivation to go to college. And Robert and Janice both believe that people's lives were changed through education and that a community could be changed through education. And that is why they focused their foundation on helping students continue their education after high school. And so they started at East Rutherford High School in 1989. It stayed at East Rutherford High School for 20 years. And then the year that I came along and came on as executive director, they had already begun the process of expanding to Chase High School. And so I helped complete that expansion, and then we expanded to RS Central High School in 2016. And then we've expanded through the last few years down into the middle schools, with programs also in the elementary schools and programs for our college students. And so that's been their goal, and their legacy was just to help our students see beyond high school and to see how education at any level can make a difference in their future. And you saw the video from Mr. McNair and his legacy that he wanted to leave. And he has said as many things as they have given funding to and support to, that the mentor program gave them the highest return on their investment, which says a lot when you think about all of the things that they've invested in. But they were extremely proud of the mentor program and the foundation as a whole and the things it was doing for the students of Rutherford County.
Absolutely. It's a life-changing foundation. It gives kids the hope that they wouldn't have had otherwise, to keep going and stay focused, stay motivated. That's incredible. So transitioning a bit from the intentions of the foundation to more of what motivates you. What keeps you going whenever work's piling up, when the days are long, on those cold Monday mornings? What fires you up and gets you going for the job?
Well, I've always said since I've had this job is there's really not a bad day at work. The job that I do is just full of good. It's nice to be able to see needs that students have and to be able to meet those needs and to help students see their future and to see things that can happen for them. I guess the biggest motivation is the students, of course, knowing that we have students that we can help and that we want to help, knowing that, or seeing when our students get that acceptance to a college, or even just figure out that a college might be something for them. That's a huge motivator for all of us that work for the foundation. The other thing that keeps me going is that I have a fantastic team of people who all love and have a heart for our students and have a heart for helping these students and carrying on the legacy of the McNairs. And they just jump in. And so whenever there is a day where things start piling up, everybody comes together and works together to do whatever we have to do to make sure our programs happen and are there for the students.
That's so awesome to hear. And as the executive director, you've seen and you've met a lot of youth within Rutherford County, and that's because that's mainly the people you work with. And you've seen and met a lot of youth. And moving forward, what do you see for the future of the McNair Education Foundation, and how do you think the next generation of youth will impact our county just through what Bob McNair did? So,
well, Mr. McNair has made sure that this foundation will be able to continue into the future. So we are very grateful for that he has set us up for that, even past his death. And Mrs. McNair stays committed to what we're doing, and their children stay committed to what we're doing. So we feel good about the foundation and where we're going. As for our programs, we are always looking at our programs, making sure that they're meeting the needs of our students. And so if they're not, then we make changes when we need to. If we don't have a program and we see a need, then we try to create that program to meet the need for our students. When you talk about the youth of Rutherford County, what's been really neat lately is that we have a lot of students who have graduated. They're no longer students, but they have graduated from Rutherford County, become successful adults, and they are coming back and they are becoming mentors with our foundation, or they are doing things like you guys are doing and helping the youth in Rutherford County. And so that's always great to see. Last week, we actually just did our Rope Award selection. And so we have a committee of teachers that come together, and those are the people who do the selection for Rope Award. And they discuss every student. So they talk about every student. They talk about the things that the student's done. And that's in a good way. And so it's just so heartwarming to sit there and listen when we talk about over 150 students, and they just talk about all the ways that they have worked to make themselves better, to make their schools and communities better, to make their peers better. And then we also have so many students who have overcome, and you heard Ariana talk about it just a little bit ago, students who have really faced some very difficult hardships. And instead of letting that stop them or bring them down, they've overcome that, and they've learned to not only survive, but they are succeeding and thriving. And it just, when you sit through those 3 days, you cannot ever doubt the power of our students or the future and what they're going to contribute to our future because of the things they've already done at such an early age in high school. So I have nothing but great hope for our students, the youth of Rutherford County, because I know how awesome they are from working with them and hearing about them and the different programs and the things we do.
Awesome. And so whenever we're talking about parents as well, what can parents do better to better the outcomes of their youth's academics, whether that be grades, whether that be how they interact at school, or just how they, or in their extracurricular activities in school?
I think, yeah, having our parents be involved. We see parents a lot at sporting events. They don't come out quite as much for academic events and those kinds of things. But really just encouraging the students to be at school on time, to do their homework and those kinds of things, to build those good habits in the early grades in the elementary school and middle school, because that makes such a huge difference in high school. And when you build those early, then that makes you so much more successful throughout college or a job. Those are life skills that parents, I think, if they aren't already, really need to be working on with their students. But also just encouraging them and not putting any kind of limits on what those students can do. We were trying to redefine what college means. And for us, college is any type of education after high school. So it's not just the 4-year degree or the 2-year degree, even. It's the certification that you can get that will get you a really good job or get you higher pay at a job that you may already have. And so we're really working with students to understand that 70% of the jobs of the future are going to require some type of education after high school. And so about anything you can think of, there's some type of education they're going to need. And so having parents understand that and encouraging their students as well, helping students or their children think about things that they're interested in, that they're good at, things that they like, subjects that they like, and ways that may turn into a career for them. And so those are some of the things that parents can do at home to help them be prepared for their future.
Just to go back a little bit, you mentioned that college, you've redefined how you look at college, and it isn't only the 4-year universities, the colleges. Could you talk a little bit more about that? So just to be clear, trade schools, certifications, community colleges, those are all covered under the ROPE Award?
If they go to a 2 or 4-year school, it's covered under the ROPE Award. But the trade schools, especially at isothermal, they have these scholarships that are covering the certifications. And so those are things that students need to be aware of. So there is funding between either the McNair Foundation or Isothermal Community College. In this county, there is funding for almost every level of education for students. And so that's also important for our students to understand. So our rep board does not cover the short-term certifications, but isothermal does cover that. So we know that that's covered for our students, and that's available for our students.
That's awesome. Because there's a different path for everyone. Yeah, right. That's awesome. Right. Well, on behalf of the team here at Reaching ROCO and Rutherford County as a whole, thank you so much for the work you do. Along with the McNair Foundation, you've changed thousands of lives over the years, and you're changing Rutherford County for the better. And we'd love to just thank you for that. And you're a light to us all. You inspire everyone.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on here. I've enjoyed my time with you guys.
It is our pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us. And you can go ahead and hop out, Monica, if you would like to. We are going to go ahead and wrap it up. Isaac, do you have any last words before we wrap up for the night?
I may be biased, but I think the first podcast went great. Personal opinion. Thank you.
Yes, minus the connection issues. It was kind of hard for me at first. I'm so sorry. Everyone knows Rutherford County internet is not the best kind of internet there is, but we're working on it. We're working on getting that fixed. All right. Absolutely. Thank you for joining, everybody. You can cue the outro, Addison.